Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. I hope everybody is doing good this week. I'm feeling spry. And I see there's some weird crowns thing on the chat. I have like no idea what that is. Let's see. Live chat. I'll change it to live chat. But see, up there was none. But maybe it's because Jackie only was talking. So I'm guessing it has something to do with the wrenches, because it looks like the crown people have the wrenches, but then like why is Austin crown number 3? Is it like amount of visits? Like, okay, then who's number 1? Is that me? Let me just test, actually. Testing. Well, see, I didn't get a crown. So oh, Vivian's number 1. Okay, maybe you were the first one to get a wrench. Maybe that's it. Number of posts. If it's the number of posts. That doesn't really make sense, though, because now you've just posted twice on here. And Shari gets number 2 the whole time. So maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. Okay, so what's up? This one is interesting. It's that that's the thumbnail, and it's this flower that looks normal white looking until it gets wet, and then it turns see-through, transparent. Now here's the weird part, is that I was trying to figure out which one of these images is really it. And like this one, the leaf looks really big. I don't know, the shape might be better. I think I picked that one just because it was a long, skinny image that fits really good on the thumbnail. Or maybe it's this one. That one looks kind of realistic. I don't know. So I went on to YouTube. I'm like, all right, fine. I'm going to go on YouTube. I'll find a video. And hopefully I can still spot the AI in most of the videos. Usually there's enough of a clue still. I don't know how much longer that'll be. But I could not find a single video of these. Now there's actual, it says it's videos on YouTube, but then when you go to the video, it is just images that they're zooming in and out of. There's not anything actually moving like on the flower part itself. It's just still images in a string with voiceover, and they were like, I must have clicked on 15-20 different videos, and they were all exactly like the same, and they had these exact same images yoinked off of Google search image. And then I went to the wiki, wiki, and they don't have an image of the clear ones either. So it says on there that they are known to turn clear. Oh, it has medicinal uses. I didn't get that. Similar to, but more powerful than podophyllin and colchicine. The heck is those things? Medication used to prevent and treat gout. To treat familiar Mediterranean fever and Behçet's disease, and to reduce the risk of myocardial infarction. That actually sounds good. Maybe I should get some of these freaking things. Podophyllin. Let's see. Similar to, but more powerful than these things. Also known as a resin made of the roots of mandrake to treat warts. Okay. The extract had anti-tumor effects on transplantable animal tumors. Okay, so who knows what it'll do in humans? But the weird thing is, yeah, no, there's no images here. This is a very short wiki for such a cool-looking plant. Where does it even grow at? Okay, Japan and Sakhalin, which is above Japan, over there, like kind of stuck under the Russia above Japan. Since Japan is over close to Russia now, there's a chance I could grow that. Okay, I guess the leaves are large then. Fruit, young fruits, buds, flowers. Let's see, there's no... All right, okay, the leaves are big. Yeah, you'd think that they would put an image up there of them wet if that's supposed to be their claim to fame. So I kind of give up. I don't know what they look like. And maybe the Mandela hasn't decided yet because it's not like these are newly discovered or anything. I mean, a lot of these look fake. Are they fake? I don't know. Those look kind of real, but I mean, with the still image now, you can't really tell. So you tell me which one of these. Some of these are obviously fake, so... Like, there's this one. I'm pretty sure that's fake. Anyway, yeah, your guess is as good as mine. I know these crowds. They're very, Oh, they're top fans. Okay, top fans. What does that even mean? Can I get rid of it? You're my top fan, Vivian. What do you how to get rid of that? Question mark. What's the leaderboard? A place for fans to stand out. The top 3 get special badges in live chat. It resets every stream, so you can always try again. You need to collect experience points. Here's how you get them. Send live chat messages. Send super chats and super stickers. Got it. Wait, how come Jackie didn't get any then? Because she sent like 10 million... Yeah, see, Jackie, they don't like you. I don't know what you did to YouTube. It's just like, you sent 10,000 messages to me, and then one person just shows up and they get the leaderboards. Yes, it's here. So I don't see how to get rid of him, though. Yeah, see, I don't see any way to, like, get rid of the balonies. Oh, yeah, there's no way. Sorry, guys. You are out of luck. Oh, sorry, you got number 2 now. Wait a minute. Didn't I just look at top... Wait. Top fans, it said Shari was number 4 and Vivian was number 1. So this doesn't even make any sense. I guess you keep posting, then you got the top slot, but then that didn't change. I don't know. I think for... See, if you get for comments and donations, I mean, like... I don't know, maybe some of you guys, did you top 3 ever donate? Is that why? I can't really remember now. Jackie gets none. I know. See, that's like ridiculous. I think she's on like the hate algorithm of YouTube or something. YouTube is really weird that way. Look, if it's the number of posts, then Jackie should be number 1. There's no way she couldn't be number 1. Nobody posts more than Jackie for like months. I don't know. So remember some months ago it had everybody's name in different color. You're right, it did. And that was actually really convenient because say that you were talking to some specific person and it's kind of hard to like keep the thread and you're like to find them again and continue the thread. If there's the color there, you can go, all right, that person was purple, and then you can just scan the purple ones. Nothing makes sense. I don't know. It's all a giant troll. You know, if you just think of it that way, it's a little less irritating. It's just like, all right, go ahead. All this pesky little bullcrap. Once you get it figured out, they're going to change it. Okay, I have like a gajillion of them from Jackie, so I guess I'll just go through some of them. Teletubbies. Okay, granted, I'm not like the king of or queen of Teletubbies or anything, but that green guy, and actually the head thingies, I am thinking something has changed. And I actually looked up the wiki to make sure that there hasn't been any alterations in these creatures officially, not officially. And there has not. Okay, so supposedly, and hear this, I have looked at these things before now because there have been Mandela Teletubby things before. And there's a number of things. And first of all, I have absolutely never seen the green guy wear a goofy hat before. But now there's a lot of images with the green one wearing a goofy hat. And I'm really suspicious about that goofy hat. I have just absolutely never seen it. And now it's in the lore that that one wears that hat a lot. Okay, so that's issue number 1. Issue number 2 is the green guy is apparently now African-American alien monster dude. And I just don't remember that dude having a dark brown face. So the official story is that that guy is like a black alien. If that makes any sense, because red, yellow, green, and purple are not enough colors. Okay, so there's that. And okay, I do not remember their ears being this big last time I looked. So I'm very suspicious about that, okay? And the last thing is, I don't remember the head thingies on these two. Like, I remember them being all shapes, right? And I'm pretty sure one had like some kind of a square or rectangle. I do not remember one being like just a poke. Like this one where it's just, and this one apparently is like a pigtail. It goes meow meow, and so like there's the. I do not remember any of them having a pigtail. So I just remember shapes. And that one is too close. So like this one and this one, I do remember like triangles and circles. But where's the dude with the rectangle and I think there was one other shape, though, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Maybe it was, like, an antenna? I thought there was one, like, maybe with an antenna shape. So it kind of looked like a U or something. But, yeah, so these guys are shifty. Shifty little snookles. All right. Big ears. Yeah, the ears are too big. I don't know. I think the facer looks a little bit different to me too, but I just can't, like, I can't put my finger. Did it have like more fur around the, like, there was less white face and more like fur cover or something? I don't know. Like, see, that one looks a little more right to me with the more fur. It looks like it has more fur. I'm thinking this might not be, there might be like a costume after the fact. See, most of them don't have that much fur. And, I don't know. Something's bugging. These blurry ones look better. So, I don't know. I mean, yeah. So that was Jackie found that. Yeah. The trouble. Oh, you're right. Actually, that hair is not. Okay. Yes. Okay. Somebody remembers the square one. You know, I don't remember it well enough to remember which one had the square, but I know one of them had a square or a rectangle, something close to that. Now, what was the fourth one, though? I don't think it was just a stick. I think there was some other shape. Yeah, I don't need... You know what? If you guys got, like, the dough, feel free to donate. You know, like, because I'm not as wealthy as I once was in the current timeline. But If you do not have the dough, then you should keep it for yourself. Because I ain't that poor that I need to take money from poor people. So if you are poor or anywhere in that neighborhood, do not donate. I started seeing the skeleton flowers a few years ago, maybe 3. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why Jackie got the... Oh, now she's number 3. Huh. Okay. What is it? Let me see what it says now up here. Okay. Vivian... Prelim Minimal is number 3. Has he even posted anything? Wait a minute. Is he in here posting? Wait, this is some kind of hoo-ha. Oh, yeah. No, he is in here. Okay, at least there's that. It says you're number 3, but then you're not getting any crowns. This is like totally naff. It's all janky. This system is so janky. It makes no sense. Oh, that's Lala. Okay. You know, because I don't have kids, right? So, but you see them all the time. And then there were other Mandelas on them. So I have scrutinized these things in the past because of the Mandelas. And I did think at the time, like, I'm going to try to keep an eye on these because they are obviously shifty. And indeed, we have seen that they have shifted again. Look at the human skull. Okay. Captain Kurt. That's kind of funny. Are you Kurt in real life? Okay. Let's see. Google real human skull. I don't. They better not look like Teletubbies. All right. So we're looking at the brow region. All right, side view. And you know, it does look weirdly smooth right in here. This is a disarticulated skull in 14 pieces. I mean, I don't think that's a real one, but still. This one's probably a real one. Yeah, that does look really smooth up there. We've turned in, and then someone calls you a smooth brain. It's now true. I don't know. Okay. Oh, dang, there's just those 2 little weird bumps right there. You know. That's weird, those 2 little bumps. I don't remember they're almost like weird little centered eyebrow bumps. But I remember there being more like, a little more like a ridge like, not totally like it, but similar to the Neanderthals. Just like a much smaller version of it. But now it, God, you know what it looks like with this one? It looks like C-3PO's head. No. Look at that. Does that not look like... Oh, that's weird. Okay, now that has a weird line up the center. I have not seen that. Yeah, you know, that is what's kind of missing there. The fissures are not visible from the front. Didn't there used to be a bunch of fissures? That was part of it. There was a bunch of fissures up here. Those are a newer one, but there was... Trying to put this together in my head. There looks like there's some kind of change in where the nose is too. I don't know. There's this giant pinch in here, I think, has changed. I think it used to come out smoothly, and now it looks like, look, they look angry because there's this big pinch right here. Okay, so that's part of it, that pinch. It makes them look angry. Oh, it's bugging me now that I realize it. There wasn't a big prominent fissure right there, though. There wasn't a big demarcation where the nose piece came out from the head. It was just very subtle there. You barely saw it. Now it's like a big fang. You know what I noticed about this one? There's like a weird little notch here, and then it comes around. This one has it too. I'm going to look at the other ones. Do they all have that now? Where there's like a little... That one a little bit has it. That one kind of... So like there's a... Yeah, it looks like there's a notch like in the orbital socket here. There's like a little like cutout area over here towards... See, now that one has it right here. Okay, I know I looked at that one more, but now I'm kind of honing in on what I'm trying to see here. That one seems to have it. Okay, so, hums. Oh, okay. This actually helps out. It looks like that's right where one of those holes is. I'm trying to remember. Now, the holes before were here, here, down here. There was a hole there, but it's now like there's a dent where the hole goes. And this one almost looks like, it's like mini eyebrows. Look at that. It is. It's like mini eyebrows. Okay, so, this guy's got the little notch. Yeah, so there's like a notch here, almost like some kind of weird designer dark glass. Oh my god, it does look like glasses. Because there's the dark hole and the little thing right here, and that's right where you put your glasses. You know, I can't help but notice, like, this has got the glasses, and then over here, the manubrium and bone thing down the middle now looks like a tie, like men wear ties. It's like the actual physical structure is starting to mimic the clothing. I don't know why that would be, or if it's just coincidence or what. Okay, yeah, there's like definitely like a notch missing there. And that brow ridge thing, I agree, it's gone. Okay. Pathological human skull. I wonder what was pathologic about it. It has the notch. Yep. Okay, let's look at a side view here. Look at those cheekbones. Ah! Giant bug just crawled over my foot. Hold on. I think it ran away, but if it comes back, I'm nabbing it. Gross. You ever have that thing where something's tickling you and you're like, oh, it's probably just a dust bunny or something, and then it gets worse. And you're like, you know what? I don't think it's a dust bunny. And then you find out it's like a huge beetle. And that's what just happened. Gross. I'm in here barefoot, so... Okay, so I've totally lost my train of thought. Alright, interesting. This guy's got that back... Dang, really got that back bump head thing. That is real human skeleton cut out stock image. Do we all have that now? I feel like that's like more, although this one is extra. That almost looks like a tumor. Okay. Creepy. Okay, let's look at side view. Skull side view. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, good find on these skulls. We haven't looked at these in a while. I feel like it's this. This is bugging me. I think part of it is because of the way these fissures are now. What did they call these again? I think this has changed again. It's swooping way down here, and then it's all like bundled up there. What makes this end piece look like a tumor because it's like it's tacked on. And I don't remember the fissures being there. I thought they were more like up here and stuff. So these fissures have changed like how many times? So that's also ridiculous. See, you know, there's part, it's all bumpy down there on the back of the head. That's part of what's bugging me. It's just like, ugh. Look at that. Ugh. How many of these have, what is this bump thing here? Maybe there's going to be muscle in there because it seems like whenever stuff gets all bumpy, then you get like, is that even real? Whenever something gets all bumpy, then it gets, it doesn't look real. Then it gets like, it turns out to be an attachment for muscle, has been my experience. So maybe there's going to be like more neck muscle clutched on over there. Look at that. Ugh. Creepy. Oh, you were, Shari was the only one who had the color names. Oh, I thought there was, I don't remember you being the only one. I do remember there were other colors for different people. You know, I was a while ago, I was like, what are we calling black people now? Because it's, when you're old like me, we've gone like through a lot of different words. As far as, because for a while it was poke, P-O-C, and for people, for, it was first, for a while it was people of color, then it was just B-O-C. As best I can tell, we are back to black now. But the problem that we have in this timeline or reality or whatever is that there's no real, like, it used to be like, it would be like, everyone said, this is what you're using, so like, okay, I'll use it. But now it's harder. It's like, can we have the official word on what we're using? It's like, do you want me to screw up so you can yell at me, or you just guys can't even agree on one word? But it seems like black is the current acceptable word for black people, so I'm using it because, you know what, it's nice and short. So yeah, Captain Kurt, good find on the lack of eye ridges. Got me to look, and there are some other things. Has anybody seen the dinosaur with 5,000 teeth? Alright, let me check that one. Dinosaur with 500 teeth. You know, ever since they came up with that spinning spinning mouth. It looks like a wheel shark thing that they claim once existed. I'm like, I'm so done with this business. Nuh-uh, it's... Is that why you thought of it? Because the name... The name... I will go with Nigersaurus for safety purposes. After the discussion we just had, the fact that you brought up Nigersaurus is very interesting. 30-foot long plant-eating dinosaur. Okay, can we have a picture of it? I hope that's a real word that I'm about to like put in, because otherwise it's not going to look good. Why am I on here now? What is happening up here? Okay, if I put in Nigersaurus, will I get it? There. Oh, it has like super tiny itty bitty teeth. Like a zipper. Of course it looks totally ridiculous. Look at the face. That looks so fake. Come on. Look at it. There's the skull. I feel like, you know, this was something maybe that was on Land of the Lost. If you're old enough to remember Land of the Lost. There's some Mandelas in there too. Land of the Lost was this super corny show back when a lot of shows were corny and had really low budget, and these this family got stuck in the past and had to live with the dinosaurs, and you can only imagine the quality of the dinosaurs wasn't that great. And the writing and everything else, but oh well. You know, we weren't that sophisticated back then when it came to TV. And I get a lot of young people, well, not a lot, but I get young people complaining to me about such and such sucks. This show is terrible. And then my basic response is, it's better than every show from my entire childhood, even if you think it sucks. Look at this thing. It looks like a stapler. It even looks more ridiculous with the skull. Look at that thing. That is absolutely insane. When did they, I mean, like, they didn't just find out about it 10 seconds ago. 2025. First described in 1976. But was only named Nigersaurus taketi in 1999. Then I'm going to assume it was found in Niger. Otherwise, I really don't know why they named it that. Yeah, it was discovered in Niger. In Gadofaoa. Gadofaoa. Oh, I'm sure I killed that one pretty bad. Excavation of specimen. I don't know why that looks fake too. Everything looks fake. That one is funny. I don't do a lot of dinosaurs because, like, who could keep track with all that? But that one's pretty funny. I don't know, like, okay, so if you post a lot of silly stuff in order to get the crown, like, does it matter how long? Can you just type boo, 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 and then, like, win? Or does it count, like, the number of digits you type? Or... And then, like, they get people to post more. Is that gonna, like, impress the advertisers, maybe, or something? I don't know. Haven't got Teletubby shapes on her. I don't know, man. I'm I'm afraid any minute now I might have an antenna or something. Yo, yeah, Jackie wrote the same thing. Okay, go to... Wait, I'll do this later, because... Monetization. I'll do it. Monetization. Membership scroll. Loyalty badges. Change or remove badge images, and that'll get rid of the crowns. All right. Ah, okay. All right, I'll try it. The problem with this stuff is, like, YouTube changes every 5 seconds, and then the chatbot will give you an answer that was true like 3 months ago, but now isn't. I'll give it a shot, though, but I have a lot of problems with that. And even when you're, like, looking up tutorial videos, the videos with the most clicks are the ones that show, and the ones with the most clicks are usually really old and no longer relevant. So it's so frustrating. The nose cavity seems very large. Okay. I can't quite exactly... Let me look at the front view again. Something looks... I kind of feel like maybe the rest of the face is just less. You know, that here the nose looks so high up into the eyeballs. Maybe that's not normal, though. I mean, like, half the nose is in the eye, with the skull with cancer and dentures. Cancer and dentures. Where's the cancer part? Cancer and dentures. That's the cancer. Alright, but it doesn't explain why his nose is... Like, okay, here's my eye socket. I guess it is pretty high now. Somehow it just looks weird, though. That looks a little better. Okay, see here, I just... That guy's head was weird. Alright, that one's real high, too. So, what, there's just a bunch of... Maybe that's part of what's bugging. There's just, like, a ton of variation on these things now. There's a lot of these weird sideways ones showing up. Like, what, does everybody have deviated septums now or something? Alright, so I feel like the heart shape, there's a lot more prominent heart shape. That was brewing before, but I think maybe the top is a little more pinchy up there. I feel like I can see in there a lot better, like deep in there. Something, there's just, I can't quite pin it down. Maybe it was a little more tilted now. The hole, you couldn't really quite see in there the way you can see now. I think that's what it is. It was a little bit harder to get the direct view in. I think there was a little bit more of a down tilt. Germany to investigate 1,000 schools taken from African colonies for racial research. Why is that nose so tiny on that? Is that an infant? Rwanda, Tanzania. That nose is tiny, like the hole, and it's high. Okay, so maybe that's going to be a racial difference where the nose hole is down. You know, and I took like this high-end archaeology class when I was in college, and they went over the morphology of the skulls according to race, like really, really carefully. And there wasn't like the stuff that's there right now was not there back then. Let's just put it that way. Look at that one. Why is that one so skinny looking? Is that a real skull? It looks like it is a real skull. But yet, because of this, let's see what the answer was. Carolina, came from Carolina Biological Supply. You can't tell if it's human. Yeah, okay. The way it's laid out, I would say it's a real skull, and you used to be able to get those. It's just the shape. I don't, maybe the image is just a little pinched here. Dang, like it's just, I don't know. I think maybe what I'm looking at is the face has got, the skull part has gotten more narrow, and then the cheekbones are sticking out even more, and so it looks like lurch or something. That one, and then like this one, it's like, come on, it's too long. The eyes are huge, and there's no side to the face. Maybe that's part of what's bugging me. This whole thing is there's just less. Dang, we're turning into like the gray aliens or something. Skinny face, giant eyes. Ugh. You know, there was this rumor that started maybe 15 years ago where they're like, well, maybe the gray aliens are us in the future. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not a big fan of that, but when I look at the morphology changes, I'm forced to kind of consider it. Knock on wood, our summers have been, the last few have not been too bad. I mean, it's been a little hot here, enough to be like, oh, it's hot, but it's, you know, after a few hours, it cools back down. It's been cooling down at night. That is the biggie, because if it cools down at night, then you can blast the cold air in at night, shut the windows in the morning, and kind of surf on that for half the day. See, I don't even know, like, if gray aliens exist or it's just a concept, but it's a concept that has so percolated into the human psyche. And it does seem like whatever concepts are widely disseminated and extremely popular in the human psyche are coming to pass. So that is one of the things where I'm like, so, you know, they were the bad guys when I was a kid, now that you mention it, because they would, like, abduct you, right? But now they're like, oh, they're just passive, and they're just, you know, researching, and so it does seem like a lot of that, they're the bad guys, kind of went away. All right, I think that's everything on my, wait a minute, that's not how I remember them, dudes. I swear the ears, though, they look different. But one thing I'm sure there was not, I am sure there was not this. It kind of looks like somebody's giving you the finger, too. So I think I would have noticed if you were getting the finger. And like this. That's pretty funny. And I really looked to make sure, like, well, maybe they added a black guy. Nope. The green one was always black from the first days. Okay, so this one, who found this one? It's so cute. Julesy111. I can't remember if I've had this particular cute kitten on or not. I don't think I have. Oh, it is so cute. Found sand kittens filmed in the wild for the first time 7 years ago. They are so cute. They're like kittens. And I don't even know if these are kittens or not, actually. Where the adults look like kittens and the kittens look like smaller kittens. I'm going to have to dig up some more images. I don't even know if these are kittens or the adults. But they sure look so cute. Giant eyes. Munchkin face. Another couple years, they'll be pets. Their fur blends in with the surroundings. They are sand colored. Researchers believe this is the first time anyone has filmed sand kittens in the wild. Sand kittens. Is that the name? They don't have sand cats? Or is it that, oh, they had images of sand cats, but not sand kittens? Sand cats. Okay, what do sand cats look like? Sand cats. Oh my god, they're cute too. Oh, yeah, they look a little crabby. I don't think I've had these on. Look at that. Oh, they look they look like little Karens. Cute little Karens, but look at that. Look at that face. Felis. Their name is Felis Margarita. No, it is not. Oh my god. No, I'm pretty sure I haven't had that face on. If I had them on, it was from the side, but I don't think I've had that on. Of course, it could be their face changed a lot. Oh, they're good at slinking. Is this even real? I think that one's fake. Okay, fake. That's a ordinary cat. Oh, is that even real? That looks fake. Oh my god. I don't even know. Wait, let me look at them on here again. Okay. Does that thing look like... Okay, maybe. There's cute. So their ears are huge, but they're not long. And then they're like half, like almost all the side of their face is like an ear. Wait, come on. How come this one's not clicking? Come on, give me that image. Why is this computer being so weird? Look. Alright, can I have that image? Yes, but I can't have that image. There it is. Alright. Yeah, the computer is acting like strange. It is doing stuff I've not had it ever do before. God, they're cute. I don't know how something can look so snotty and snooty and still be that cute. Maybe it's that little nose. You know, one thing I've really noticed about the domestic cats, is that back when I was a kid, I just don't remember any cats having such a petite little face as a lot of the cats have now. They used to have more of a snout and kind of a smile, and now they have more of this look where it's very sharp, very petite, and really cute, you know, but I'm really suspicious that that's like a variant that, and because these are just wild strays that nobody, and like tons of the wild strays have that, and they weren't fixed at an early age or anything, so there's really no explanation why they would have, you know, obviously these aren't domestic short hairs, but speaking of domestic short hairs, I did have my own personal Mandelas. Okay, so I'm trying to, I feel like I'm trying to find one. They used to look, even that one's kind of pinchy face. They just had more like meat on the side of their head or something. Like their mouth was, they had more of a snout that was visible. Like kind of like how the big toms have now, but now only if you didn't neuter them early and they were like 3 years old before you neutered them, they would have that face that I remember more like this, right? But I remember all the cats having a face like that, including the females, neutered or not. I mean, you used to neuter them around 5 or 6 months old, and they would still have this face. And they just don't really now. They have, so many of them have this petite little cute face. See how that one's tiny? And around here, there's a bunch of them with the little tiny. Okay, so there's another thing that I want to discuss on the putties. Here, this guy has it. Okay, so maybe this one. All right, so there's at least 3, I would say 4 tabby looking cats that are in my life right now. So I have one that I actually personally own at home, and then there's the regular one that comes here, and then the second one that's been coming more and more. So that's 3 tabby guys. Some are a little lighter, some a little darker, and then there's a 4th one that visits only occasionally, but I see him out there. And that one I get close to. So there's 4 that I get close to. And then there's like 2 more over there that I can't get really close to. So I don't think they count because I really haven't got that close. I can't see them up close to see their changes. But, and this is something I noticed in all of them. That first I noticed in her, and then I'm like, wait, they're all getting it. And it was just a little bit at first, but used to be the cats, they would have, okay, they have hair in their ear, okay, and I did feel that that's been expanding over time, but just this last couple weeks, they all grew like this hair fringe at the base of the ear, and for all of them, it's really light colored, because all of these are tabbies, okay. And so you can see it now on most of the tabbies in this image. And it's this fringe here. Let me see if I can open this to be bigger. Image in a new tab. This white fringe here. And it sticks up like ear whiskers or something. I don't know. I mean, it looks kind of goofy actually on them. Like suddenly there's a white giant ear eyebrows or... So all 4 of the ones that I get close to here all have it. You can see it on that one. This one you could really see it on. I want to say the ones here have it even more than these, because the ones I have It's longer. And these are not long-haired cats, but this fringe is maybe double height than on these images from on the cats I have here. Let me see. Is that now? Of course she's not here, or I'd hold her up. She does not love it when I'm in here yapping, and they've gotten really nocturnal because it's summer and it's hot all day, so they're kind of like preferring to snooze during the day and run around at night. That's around here, that's how the cats kind of roll. In the summer, they run around all night, and then in the winter, they become more daytime. Because it's cold outside. See, he's got it. I'm going to go through all of these. This one has it. This one has it. Not as much, but some on that one. Really prominent on that guy. Very subtle on this guy. I believe it's on there, but it's blending with the ears. You get the message. Yeah. Oh, this guy has a goodly amount. Let's see. Open image. Yoink. It's this. This stuff here. And you really notice it when you see it from the front because it's light. Now, if it would just blend in, fine. And at first, it kind of did, but I did still notice it. But now it looks ridiculous because there's like these white tufts that are really, I don't know, pure white, but they're cream colored. And you can see on these cats, for the majority of them, oh, weird. Suddenly there's a bunch that have a weird. I mean, is it going to spread all the way down? Because look, I'm looking at all of these, and all of these suddenly have a big white area here. I've actually never seen that in a cat before. This coloration where there's no. Maybe that's what's going to happen. Maybe that white. Come on. Ah. Look at that. That's so bizarre. Look. That white is spreading. So what, are they going to just get stripes here and out the sides and a bunch of white? The hell? Now a bunch of them are like that. I swear I started this. There was not a million images like that. So I guess they're all down here, but still, that was weird. Keep in mind that domestic short hairs are just random cats. They're not like specially bred. So they're all down here, the weird ones with the weird face. Well, maybe that's what we're going to get then. The coloration's gonna, that white will spread out. It's an interesting look. Dang, look at that. A lot of this kind of a cat is getting born too, I've noticed. So I thought, well, maybe they're specially breeding for them. But no, these are just strays out here. And the parents don't look that amazing, so it's interesting. They're just coming out more interesting. See, there's a kitten with that same. Okay, so maybe that's what's going to happen is that white. See, there it is right there, the white. Maybe it's going to spread down to the eye. That one has it right there. Well, I don't really see it on that one. Okay, well, you get it. You get it. I could go on forever. Well, keep an eye. So they're all tabbies, like kind of brownish tabbies or grayish tabbies. I think orange is considered tabby, but I'm not talking about the orange ones. I think tabby just means stripies, but I'm talking about like the grayish ones, the grayish tabbies. They have, you know, a lot of the cats are getting a lot of these mascara lines for sure. Did Quantum Businessman say why he purged his channel? I did not even know that he did. I will ask around on that. Interesting. So, you know, I think there was a time, this is just my absolute wild guess because I really don't know, but I think maybe a lot of us thought the Mandela would kind of explode in the next 5 or 6 years as more and more people realized all this crazy crap. Because how could you not notice? And like, and that didn't happen. And instead, all the world got weird, and people are caring about politics and so, you know, maybe that was part of it. It just didn't go the way he wanted. And to be fair, it may not be ideal for him as a business person to actually have all that stuff up there when looking for clients. And the economy is not that great right now. So, could this be the reason why they canceled the IMAX? Okay, so my understanding is that, like, the majority of people suddenly this year just had other stuff they wanted to do. Like, one guy got a job and it wasn't Quantum Businessman, and there was some reason another person couldn't do it, and so only 2 people were left that really wanted to do it, and it was Cynthia Sue Larson and Jerry, I believe, still wanted to do it. And those 2 by themselves just did not feel that they could really carry the work, especially because, you know, Jerry works full time and he has his other radio show interests that he's busy with. So he's like super busy and he doesn't have tons of money to throw at stuff. So, you know, the 2 of them together felt they couldn't do it, basically. I don't think that means that there'll never be anything ever again on that channel. They might have stuff eventually, but so the IMEC as a 501c3, I believe, has been shut down. That doesn't mean that they can't ever do any events or anything again in the future, though. It's just that it's not a 501c3. And, you know, I don't think I ever really asked why Quantum Businessman. Like, maybe I was told and I forgot. So I'll see if I find out anything. Normies are talking about Emmy so much now it's gotten a normal thing in this weird world. Yeah, but you know what? It's maybe it's the younger generation, but like there weren't that many people at the IMEC conference this year, and I don't know. Maybe it's just that there's so many other weird things going on. I feel like my attention is split with all the geopolitical stuff, and then people just acting really weird in general. Oh, you're talking about that thing where, you know, I know that the Republicans have, especially in recent years, a really weird fixation on wondering if certain, like, tons of different women in politics and famous women stuff might be men. And I kind of think it's funny because in the end, I don't really care that much. So it's like, yeah. But and a lot of times there's really not that much evidence for it. And now the way people look, it's much harder to tell. I feel like, 20 years ago, you could just pretty much tell by looking most of the time. But now you can't because women look more like men and men look more like women. So I thought that might have been driving it. That on some level, they notice that things look weird, but they're just attributing a different thing to it than us. Because we're saying that's the Mandela, and they're saying maybe it's a man, because women look more like men, right? So, the cat is here. Let me see which one it is. Oh, it's you. All right, I'm going to grab her and I see if you can see the white. Come here, Mimi. Oh, kitty. Can you spare a minute for your famous, beloved followers? You, my beautiful kid. Everything is fine. I hope you can see this. You're all right, kitty. Boo-boo. You're fine. Alright, you could really see it on her. Right here. See those? And I'm gonna bring her face. No, you're okay. She's seeing stuff moving. She's like, I don't know what you're doing. Alright, you're fine. I don't mean to scare you. Wait. She saw, there's a bunch of weird stuff moving on the screen that you can't see. And she kind of, I think it was a bit much for her. But you could see, you know, that's those lines. They're really prominent on her and all the other cats also. She's probably the only one I can grab and go, see? But the others have it like her. What's wrong, Mew Mew? Oh, the big one has shown up. Hi. Come here. He's not used to being picked up, so I'm not ready to go. What is that? The Lion King treatment. Yeah, so what was I say? But I have to say that the amount of stuff that's been dug up on Macron and his wife are absolutely epically weird. And every month that goes by, there's more weird stuff. I don't know if that is actually what it is or not, but I would not be at all shocked if Macron's wife was not born female. Or some kind of weird cover-ups. There is, you know, the whole history is really strange. Like when you, like, I don't even know how to even go into it, but they've dug so much and they're like, wait, this person claimed to be here, but if we look, they were never there. They were actually over here, and this person, and they've interviewed so many people, and every person they interview, it just brings up more non-cohesive storylines and stuff. So it is absolutely fascinating. And most of this stuff was collated together by Candace Owens on her shows. Some of it has been found by other people, but she'll usually have it on her show. I haven't even seen the half of it. I've only watched a few of them shows that she's done, and every show she has different stuff on it, and I'm like, this is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. And the whole story with Macron, because he was a student and he was 15 years old, and then he dated his teacher who was like in the 30s, and that's his current wife. She was like in her 30s. I think she's 24 years older than him or something. And then so obviously that's child abuse. But somehow they just swept it under the rug, and then you had this recent thing where she shoved him in the face, and I mean, like, that isn't even like 2% of the stuff that Candace Owens dug up, because the stuff I just said now, that's all accepted fact even by mainstream. Even the mainstream stuff is totally bizarre. I had a weird experience. I didn't sleep for 48 hours straight, and I had hallucinations. So my understanding is, yes, that is what happens if you don't get sleep. You hallucinate. The military's been trying to solve that problem for a long time, because they want their people to just keep, like on missions, to be able to just keep slaving away on their missions for day after day, and pesky humans just couldn't do it. Yeah, that's another thing that's really interesting. You know, so I guess if you slip up and say one thing wrong, the Macrons and them will sue your butt off. And several people have gotten their butt sued off. But only if they can prove you wrong. So, for instance, one guy claimed that guy is not that guy, and it wasn't directly related to the Macron issue so much. I mean, it wasn't them specifically, and they were wrong. It turned out that guy was that guy. Like the images were of the same person, and just because he said that and he was wrong, they came down and sued his butt all over Dodge. But they haven't sued Candace. They've threatened her, but they haven't sued her because I don't think they've been. I think they have to catch her saying something wrong, and she's been pretty careful. And one of the things she does is, well, I found this record and it says this, and she's like careful of how she says. She says, well, I don't feel like that guy looks like that guy. She can say, I don't feel like, but she doesn't say that is not that guy. The way she words things is a little bit safer. Yeah, see, the Michelle Obama is really a guy thing. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. I mean, do what you want. I don't know. Like, I still feel like a lot of it is because women look more like men now. But who the heck knows? I don't. It's just not that interesting, but then the Macron thing gets really weird because he was 15 and she was in her 30s, and that's already really strange. And then you add this whole other bunch of stuff. Like, it just goes on, and it's just like, I'm not interested enough to have even heard all of it, but even just watching a few shows, and she'll go on for an hour, and then here's this picture from this year, and this one doesn't look like that one, and look, that she claimed she was here, but then we have this image, and it's just like, dang, man. Now I'm convinced, or at least you've got my attention. It is wild. All right, so we did sand kitties, super cute. Oh, this one, okay, this one is Jackie. Most of these are Jackie now. This is bizarre. So, when did we first have chatbots? Apparently, it was in 1967. We had chatbots. Natural language processing computer program developed from 64 to 67. Created to explore communication between humans and machines. ELIZA simulated conversations by using a pattern matching and substitution methodology. Gave the users illusion of understanding on the part of the program. I just don't even really remember there being much in the way of computers until later 70s. All right, come here, Mew Mew. What's wrong with you? Come here. Psst, psst, psst. So the big, well, he's not that big, but the second cat that I've been trying to tame is getting very friendly. And when he comes in, he mews sadly so that I will pet him because he is very addicted. So you heard the cat go, meow. And then if I ignore him, he'll go, meow. He really, really wants his head scratchies. That's why I had to. But I think he's a little nervous by this screen and stuff, so he didn't want to come all the way over here. I hope to eventually get him where I can pick him up. He's come a long way. I mean, the first 2 months that he came here, he would just eat food, and then if I looked at him, he would run like hell. So, obviously, now that I can pet him and stuff. Okay, so this thing, so it had different programs, and one of the programs was this thing where it acted like a psychologist. So, so it asked, is something troubling you? And so then the human typed in, men are all alike. Some of you will think this is rather amusing, considering it was 1960s. ELIZA is the computer. It says, what is the connection, do you suppose? And then you answer, they're always bugging us about something or other. ELIZA says, can you think of a specific example? Then you say, well, my boyfriend made me come here. ELIZA says, is it important to you that your boyfriend made you come here? And you say, he says I'm depressed much of the time. ELIZA says, I'm sorry to hear that. You are depressed. And you say, it's true, I am unhappy. And ELIZA says, can you explain what made you unhappy? Okay, let me see if it goes. So this is all the computer responding automatically to the statements. All right. Did you come to me because you are not? I don't know. What does that suggest to you? That I am unintelligent. How long have you been unintelligent? Oops. Okay, that's not God. Since I was born. Eliza says, I see. Aren't you supposed to cheer me up? You're not really talking about me, are you? That's an interesting. No, I'm talking about me. Why not? MRH. I don't know what that means. I'm not sure I understand you fully. Well, I don't either. RG, come, elucidate your thoughts. Then what is elucidate? What do you think? To see. Can you elaborate on that? Okay, interesting. So, there's another one. All right, that's it. There's only 2. Okay, so did we have this level of tech, of programming that could talk to you like some kind of psychologist back in 67? I mean, like, I don't think so. I'm sorry. My dad was one of the first people involved in the earliest computers. And he used to tell me about this. He said, you go into a room, like a huge room, because the whole room was the computer, and it was a clean room, so you had to not have dust on you or anything. And the whole thing was refrigerated, and so he didn't like it because he was cold. I don't know. I thought he'd be more excited about being like on the cutting edge of technology, but I guess it was pretty boring back then, and it was cold. So he had spent hours and hours, and you were cold, because the whole room had to be kept really cold to keep the computers cool, or the computer, whatever. And there was nothing like this. You would type in dir, and then for directory, and it didn't understand, and there was nothing that understood what you. I mean, if you were there then, this is just so laughable. I'm sorry. Ridiculous. Because they didn't even have any user interface for so long. I think it wasn't until like the 90s and they finally came up with the graphic user interface mode that made life so much easier. These computers were dumber than a box of rocks, man. The early ones. And so I guess they were called chatterboxes. And now we call them chatterbots, and now we call them chatbots. And I'm like, no, this is crap, because I really think chatbot came from, when we had, in the last 20 years, there was chats, right? We never called them chatters. We called them chats. And there was no chat functions in the 70s and 80s. And really hardly just getting started in the 90s. And then we would call it, I think, what did we used to call it? I don't think we used to call it chats at first. But eventually we started calling those chats. And then, so when a bot came along that could do it, we called it a chat bot. I don't think in the 67 there was a thing called a chatterbot. I'm sorry. I saw chatbot develop in the last 20 years, the word. There was no word chatterbot around for decades. I don't believe you. I call baloney. Oh, here's the little domestic short hair I had pulled out to show the white ear fringes. This is another one of the little beasties. This guy looks somewhat like the one that was back here, but the one that's back here has a wider face because he was a unneutered male for quite a number of years, and his face got like the old look of the cats because of that. But the coloration is pretty close. And for some reason, a couple weeks ago, he got the front of his mouth right here has gotten really orange. Like, he has a slight orange tone, but now he's like, I called him Tiger, and now he's got tiger color. And I've noticed some other cats that are also suddenly got that giant orange. This one does not have it, but it's bizarre. Their colors, it just keeps changing. Okay, so I guess even in the current timeline, we have to have Uranus the planet Uranus jokes because humans never really grow up. This is from 2017, another one that Jackie found. Uranus opens and closes every day to let out planet's solar wind, study finds. In 2017. So Georgia Institute of Tech revealed Monday that the planet's magnetosphere flips on and off like a light switch every single day. In what could be described as its on position, the planet allows solar wind to flow into it. So before this, all I ever heard, and I don't even think the term magnetosphere really goes back all the way until, how long ago was this? 2017, so 9 years ago. I don't think I even heard magnetosphere 9 years ago. But now they knew about this for 9 years. The planet allows solar wind to flow into it. I don't remember that. I remember the whole point of the magnetosphere was always to shield against the solar wind, always. But here they're saying it flips on and off every day like a light switch, letting the solar wind in part of the time and blocking it the other time. In its off position, the planet deflects solar wind by closing up. The process occurs each and every day, the scientists said. Now here's the weird part, because apparently there's some of this now on Earth. Earth's magnetosphere, in contrast, typically only alters between open and close in response to changes in solar wind. Since when did we have an open and closed option to our magnetosphere? And since when did the magnetosphere sometimes open and let the solar wind in? The whole storyline about our magnetic field was that it shielded us from the solar winds, and if it didn't, we'd be all like roasted and toasted and screwed and blah blah. And now, oh well, I guess not. So that was the thing I actually really got out of this. I mean, like, I don't think that it is likely that this on-off thing for Uranus was back there then, but I am positive there was not an on position for Earth. The story was always that the magnetic field shielded Earth. It wasn't on and off shielding. It was shielding. I kind of tried to look this up, like, what does it mean when they're saying it's on? And then it was all, like, hard to pin down jello. Something about some kind of process where if the magnetic fields of the solar wind are a certain way, and then there's certain compatibility with ours, then, you know, like, so what does it even mean when the solar wind gets like flowing in, that gets it pulled in? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's just more auroras, but that was, the whole thing is bizarre. Okay, so there's that. Chatbots back in time. Uranus lets in the solar wind. Let's see, that was Jackie's got the chatbots. Jackie got the magnetosphere thing. This is Jackie again. Let's see. Yes, Jackie again. Now, we've talked before about the human body glows, but now there's like more glowing, because now they say the human brain emits photons. I guess the other glow was not photons. Now, if I remember correctly, I know I have read something where they said that the human eye is capable of seeing a single photon, okay, as a speck. So if it's in ultra pitch blackness and then one photon hits your eye, you could notice it. Okay, so now we have this, that your brain, as it metabolizes energy, releases super faint traces of visible light. I feel like we're sneaking up on the visible aspect of this, called ultra-weak photon emissions. UPIs, ultra-weak photon emissions. The flashes of light are emitted when electrons break down and lose momentum, letting go of their photons. Okay, so sparks are coming out of your brain, I guess. It's photons that are coming out. Upes don't technically count as bioluminescence, not like fireflies and anglerfish have bioluminescence. It also isn't thermal radiation, the EM energy released by thermal motion. The findings on Upes come as researchers dig into the left occipital lobe, the visual processing center of the brain, along with right temporal lobe, the central nonverbal communication. Their task was to test whether UPI flashes from those parts of the brain could be distinguished from other brain signals. All right. Other studies have explored the human body's ability to glow in other ways. This one zeroed in on the brain specifically, yielding the exciting results. Upes are related to oxidative metabolism, so that's the mitochondria business. The most immediately relevant application might include the detection of budding brain tumors, excitotoxic lesions, mild trauma injuries, and neurotoxic insults. Basically, then, if what they're saying, if I'm reading this correctly, then anytime your metabolism in your brain goes up, then there'll be more oxidation, and then there would be more of these photons. So things that cause a lot of metabolism would include brain tumors. Now, for traumatic lesions or neurotoxic insults, that usually kind of kills mitochondrial action. But maybe they could notice like a lack of photons in those areas in such a case. Okay, anyways, pretty interesting. Yeah, they should be able to detect photons, actually. I mean, if they can do MRI and all that, it wouldn't be that weird. Have anybody heard of the Ringmakers of Saturn? I'm pretty sure I read that like 30 years ago. I used to read a lot of sci-fi, but I don't remember too many of the plot lines that well. It was so long ago. There was a chatbot in the 90s. Yeah, that was like the first ones, I think. Did we call it a chat bot back then? I don't remember calling it a chat bot. Never heard of this. They still keep those computer rooms cool. So that would be like in the 60s and 70s that my dad would have been talking about. Maybe the 60s. Yeah, I noticed that the current chat bots are extremely good at figuring out what you're talking about, generally speaking. Like, I get lazy. I misspell stuff badly. I don't make good sentences. It still gets it really well. Yeah, okay. I don't know, maybe, but I don't think we called them chatbots in the 70s and 80s because there weren't any. See, I remember like chat. I just don't remember chatbot. Not in like the early 90s. Uranus jokes never grow old. And, you know, I kind of wonder, I'm like, we're just going to get stuff out of Uranus that allows for these jokes, you know, like just to keep humans entertained. I don't know. I still remember the commands for DOS. Yeah, I just remember a couple of them, and that's it. Uranus is blue. I don't know. They've been making them all weird colors lately. I've had a show on that. But then when you look into it, then they're like, it just seems like it's all simulated anyways. And then they're like, well, if your eyeballs were there, then it's, you know, like, what is color? And there's this whole 10-page dissertation on all the colors are actually always there, and but then maybe one is more or not, or I don't know. It was just like, so I kind of feel like it's one of those, it's like a cloaking device narrative where it gets so Byzantine confusing and then your brain's like, oh, fuck it, like, whatever. And it's probably going to change next week anyway, so don't kill yourself. It was one of those kind of flippy, floppy, vague quagmires of confusion. I thought we lived in a plasmasphere now. Do we live in a plasmasphere? I don't remember plasmasphere. Plasmasphere. So, I don't know, the magnetosphere is up there. What's a plasmasphere? Plasma. I mean, I know there's, these days they say there's a plasma up there. Plasmasphere. Let's see what that says. Plasmasphere or inner. Plasmasphere is the inner magnetosphere. A region of the Earth's magnetosphere consisting of low energy cool plasma is located above the ionosphere. The outer boundary of the plasmasphere is known as the plasma pause. I don't know what it is. 3 million tons of words in this timeline. My God. Everything is more complicated every minute. That's why I pay no attention to anything NASA says. They can say anything. I don't know. You know, half the world itself may not even be real. That's why I'm like, whatever. There was a photo online showing who was in charge of all the government stuff after World War II. They were all Germans who were in that army. Yeah, I don't know. Like, even that, the whole World War II has changed drastically. Like, one of the things I have on here was, like, in my timeline, Russia had control, not Russia, the Soviet Union had control of Poland. It was, they had complete control over it. It was one of their vassal states. Poland had to do everything that Russia's Soviet Union said. They were completely, like, conquered and taken over by the Soviet Union. And in this timeline, that did not happen. So I have part Polish blood, so I kind of keep an eye on what's going on in Poland, even though, you know, I don't really know their culture or anything. But I guess you just kind of a little bit feel like you have a certain affiliation if your bloodlines are from there. And so I do specifically remember them escaping, you know, like when the Soviet Union broke apart and Poland was one of the early ones who announced that they were going their own way. And the Soviet Union was no longer really able to control these vassal states anymore, so they couldn't do anything about it. So Poland was free, and I remember thinking, yes, Poland is free. And then each year I'd be like, God, I wonder how they'll do, you know, starting a whole new country, sorting all that out. I hope they don't, you know, I hope people don't all starve. And over the years I've kind of just kept a little bit tabs, and now I find out that they never were controlled, like they were never completely owned by Soviet Union. So the story now is that they were heavily influenced by the Soviets, and they voluntarily were a socialist country similar to the Soviet Union, but they were never actually directly invaded and controlled by the Soviet Union. So that's actually fascinating to me. But there are all these other countries that were now, you know, invaded by the Soviets. So maybe they didn't have time for Poland. So what I'm trying to get to, though, is, like, this photos where the Germans all just came over here after World War II and, like, took over our stuff. I'm really suspicious that that wasn't even in my original timeline. I am not 100%, but I do. My dad has Polish blood, and I do take after him a lot as far as my looks, the way my brain operates. It's just like somehow I got a lot of his genetics. I got the lighter skin. I got his hair. I got his build. I got the way, you know, like, thankfully a little higher IQ than if I didn't have his, because his side is where all the brain cells were stored when it came to the two of them. I thought they were under communist rule by the Soviets too. Bizarre. I know, huh? So, logical danger remembers Soviet vassal state. So, I'm assuming then vassal state's kind of a vague term, but I think that means that they weren't completely taken over by Poland, but just obeyed, which is, I think, the current timeline. You know, one thing about the new phones, they're so, like, janky. It's like the 90s, with the 90s, the golden era or something. Because in the 90s, you get a phone, it was indestructible. The battery lasted a long time. I had the one phone for eons until I lost it. And then, you know, like the only time I ever got rid of my phone is I lost one, and one I put in the washing machine. But other than that, I probably would still have one of those phones. Yeah, see, that's what I remember is in the 90s, they were just starting to explore voice computers and like that. So Google used to have that free service where you could dial their phone number and you could speak in and ask for directions, like where is the closest Walmart? And me and my friends had a joke because we'd have to kind of wait and blah blah. And one time while she was on the phone, we were waiting, I made this really weird noise, and it just happened to be right when the computer was listening for instructions. So it was like, would you please repeat that? And then we all burst out laughing because I think I had been imitating like an angry dog. So I was like, oh, and the dog went rah, 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 rah. And I said that like right then, you know. So that's been a going joke for a few decades for me and my friend now, is like at the most inopportune time possible, right when you're supposed to be speaking to the computer, you say blah, 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 blah. So that's how I remember it, because that was like in the later 90s when Google was trying to, and I guess they said that they were doing it for free because they wanted to develop, they wanted to train the computer to understand voice, so they just needed a lot of people calling all the time. History in Europe has changed. A German politician who got stabbed in the 90s now got shot. Okay, not stabbed, but bang, bang. I did a post in Reddit, and many Germans remembered it. Ah, haha. So, German Mandela. Australia was invaded by... Nothing comes to mind. Was Australia ever invaded? That's a good question. Who invaded Australia? To my knowledge, nobody, except for the Brits, sort of. Oh, you know, there's that, right? Didn't Germany bomb them a little bit or something? According to historical accounts, the British are widely regarded as the invaders. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, yeah, it doesn't look like you've been totally invaded. I think you got some bombings during World War II last I checked, didn't you? Australia's no... See, Australia used to be in the middle of freaking ass nowhere. So good luck even getting over there. So that was kind of part of why. It was just like, who's going to go way over there and pick a fight? It wasn't worth it. I remember Sweden being where northern section of Poland is now, and Sweden was horizontal. Yeah, it was like this. Now it's like that. Yeah, Sweden. And where's those other two? I'm stupid today. I'm actually going to do Google Earth soon. Yoink. So, Finland, Sweden, and Norway, they were like a sandwich. They were all like, there was 2 lines, and each one was like a layer of a sandwich. They didn't have Finland all over here by itself. They were all next. It was kind of weird, and they were all smaller, and they were on top of Poland, and then they went up like this. Now they're freaking huge. Poland was not, did not have the shoreline here because these guys were sitting on there. So they got huge. So I don't know, they're gonna play a big role or what, but that's that deal. Northern towns like such and such were bombed in 42, 43. See, I don't think they got bombed in my timeline because they were out in the middle of freaking nowhere. And who's going to go way over there to bomb them? But now, they ain't that far away. Can they explain how Hitler has blue eyes? I don't know, but a lot of more people have blue eyes now. Norway is thinner. Alright, so this is another one that's kind of showed up for me. So, sorry. Do you remember Nakhchivan Autonomous Republic? Because it's like on the border of Iran. So, I thought you might remember it. It's this thing. You can see I actually went into Google. Every time I look at, or not Google Earth, every last time, I swear the whole choices for what you can see and what you can pick are different. And this time I was able to pick country names without all the other clutter. So at least now I can kind of see the borders. And so it's funny because this is making it look like Nakhchivan, and I'm sorry, I'm killing the name, is just this little bit. But no, Nakhchivan is this whole thing. But is it a country? No, it is not actually a country. So the story then is that this here is Nakhchivan, and then this here is Armenia, and then this here is Azerbaijan, who is right now having a beef with Russia, probably because they are kind of the slave of Israel, possibly, and really wants to stir the crap because the story is really bizarre. By Azerbaijan is mad because Russia supposedly arrested and killed some 2 people in Russia that were supposedly involved in crimes. But the thing is that they were Azerbaijanis, but they were Russian citizens. So I think that Russia has the right to police its own country, and being a massive country, it is only a matter of time before an Azerbaijani or 2 are going to die in there because, you know, it's like the United States. People are dying all the time because there's a bajillion people. So, but for some reason that can't be explained, Azerbaijan decided to have a giant cow over this and, like, arrest all the Russians in Azerbaijan and claim that all the Russians in Azerbaijan were doing bad things. I'm like, if they were doing bad things, why did you wait until now to arrest them? Like, these guys are involved in drug running. I'm like, they're all involved in drug running, but just now you're going to arrest them. It was okay last week that they were involved in drug running, you know. So the whole thing was bizarre, and I really think it's just another effort to harass Russia, because these guys are closely allied with Israel. But here's the thing. I'm looking into Azerbaijan, and I see this. And so this is a exclave. And there's a lot of these exclave things in the current timeline. Is a chunk of Azerbaijan that is not attached to Azerbaijan and is autonomous, yet it's part of Azerbaijan. So governed by its own elected legislature. You can see here, this is the creature. Oops, come on, quit doing that. Maybe I'll open this. Okay, there, that's smart. So here's Azerbaijan, there's Armenia, and here is Nakhchivan. Uh, I can guarantee you that when I was a child and had to learn the names of all the countries, there weren't a bunch of countries that had like extra chunks of themselves separated from their main body. And there definitely wasn't this one. There's another thing like that now in Europe where Russia's got this side chunk that's just floating all by itself. But so this one is autonomous. So it's weird because it's like, okay, it's autonomous. It has its own legislature and it does whatever it wants apparently, but it's not its own country. It's actually still somehow part of Azerbaijan. What the fuck? Nakhchivan was part of Iran. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Many surnames are from that area. It was part of Iran. Dang! Well, it was... Now it's an exclave of Azerbaijan. I am really suspicious about Azerbaijan in general. Just being up here, being big. And I'm not sure what's going on. Like, I kind of am frustrated because my memory is not clear on it. But I know that there's wrong things with Azerbaijan. But one thing I am positive is that it did not have its own little side chunk over here. Crazy times. So it's now Nakhchivan Autonomous Republic. Oh, and speaking of stuff that the Soviets once had, apparently they at one time had control of Nakhchivan. Let's see. Originally one of the cantons of Armenia. Many competition for that region. Okay, so it was part of Iran at one point. The 16th century, it was part of Safavid Iran. The semi-autonomous Nakhchivan Khanate was established there mid-18th century. In 1828, after the last Russo-Persian War. See, like, I don't really remember a Russo-Persian War. And the Treaty of Turkmenchay, the Nakhchivan Khanate passed from Iranian into Imperial Russian possession. Okay. After the 1917 February Revolution, Nakhchivan and its surrounding areas were under the authority of the Special Transcaucasian Committee of the Russian blah 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 and the short-lived Federative Republic, which was dissolved in 1918. Nakhchivan, Nagorno-Karabakh, which is another region that's currently being fought over. Suanik and Kazakh were heavily contested between the newly formed short-lived states of Armenia and Azerbaijan. 1918, it became under Ottoman occupation. The Ottomans agreed to pull their troops to make way for British occupation at the close of the First World War. The British placed Nakhchivan under Armenian administration in 1919, but the revolt prevented Armenia from establishing full control. In 1920, the Bolsheviks occupied the region. So that's Russia again. Bolshevik Russia and Azerbaijan both promised that Nakhchivan, alongside Nagorno-Karabakh and Zanzibar, were an integral part of Armenia. The Bolshevik government declared Nakhchivan Autonomous Soviet Socialist Republic, which went on to become a republic within Azerbaijan Soviet Socialist Republic. It sounds like Soviets controlled Azerbaijan then for a while. Nakhchivan declared independence from the USSR to protest against the suppression of the national movement in the Azerbaijan and became the Nakhchivan Autonomous Republic within the newly independent Republic of Azerbaijan a year later. So, man, this thing has had a huge bunch of history. Although a mixed Azerbaijani-Armenian region as late as a century ago, Nakhchivan is homogeneously Azerbaijani today because of a small population, besides a small population of Russians. Is that because all the Armenians were killed? Because I remember there's an... You know, when I was a kid, I learned of the Armenian massacre, that, like, the genocide. But then, like, nobody ever talked about it. But I talked to some Armenians, and I never really looked into it, and I'm regretting that. Because it's probably changed now. I'm sure it's still there, but... So, yeah, that region. Anyway, I don't remember there being a region there. I guess that's the main point. You were not there. Not as a separate, autonomous exclave. Because we also have this thing. Where did it go? There's a chunk of Russia floating around in here. Here, next to Lithuania. This little tidbit is actually Russian. It's an exclave of Russia, which is way over here. So it's just becoming quite the thing, these exclave thingies. I think there's some in here somewhere, too. What was that one? I thought these were all labeled last time I looked. Which was like earlier today. Wait. Can we have it? No. Alright, so these exclaves, they don't get a name. You'd think that they would put the name on them. Lesotho. Okay, Eswatini. Dang, I'm going to have to look that one up. I thought... What are you? It probably is some exclave. So, like, the place you're least likely to look, that's where you look for these changes. Although, I guess, if you are Iranian, then Iran is probably someplace you know about. Like, what's going on over here? Is there some kind of war on? Why can't we know this, the edges here? What's going on over here? Try to keep an eye on this stuff. Where was... Oh, you know what? The other thing I was going to talk about is India. I think I had this on before, but it's got even more ridiculous. What is up with the, like, boundaries of India going on in here? Like, so India... Alright, this is kind of the shape I remember, but not bent to the side. But then this... So there's, like, this tiny little branch here, and then it all expands out to here. So if you look at the shape of India, it's crazy town. Let's see if I can find it. Like, so this is the shape of India now, and I'm like, no. Like, it definitely did not have this. India did not have that on it. I'm sorry. I feel like this is all really bumpy too, but it just, like, no. And it's not like that's new or anything. No, not Latvia. I don't think. I think SMQA, was right. We all died. This place is like an extension realm. You know, it's just that when I look way back, I saw Emmys even as a child. Like, it just where they were few and far between, and now they're just like ramping up and ramping up and ramping up. So that's one of the reasons I don't tend to think it's like some new thing. I think it is an old thing, but it's ramped up a lot. I don't know. When was I in the real world then, if there was Mandela's when I was like 8 and stuff? We never forgot the Turkmenche Treaty. That's why Iran doesn't trust anybody. Oh, I'm going to have to look that up. I don't even know what that is. You know, we never hear any of that stuff over here. You can only imagine. So it's actually really interesting sometimes to just hear about what other countries are very interested in as far as their own. Turkmen. I mean, I've seen some of the disaster that, like the treacherous stuff that's happened to Iran, so I think that's why they don't trust anybody. It's just tricky, because if you don't make treaties with somebody, then Iran's pretty big, but they're not as big as like Russia and the USA, so. And it's got all those mountains around the edge, so nobody wants to invade, or at least not Russia and not the United States. I thought it was just Azerbaijan. There were no mini countries. So the mini countries aren't inside of it. It's like a chunk has been cut off and transplanted. It's not attached to Azerbaijan, but it sort of is, except for it's autonomous region separated from Azerbaijan that is still somehow Azerbaijan. It's just bizarre. All these autonomous regions are like showing up all over the place. Russia's got them, like autonomous districts all in Russia. And they were there even in, like, a lot of them were installed during the Soviets era. I'm like, Soviets didn't install autonomous regions in their own country. They were, like, control freaks. But in this timeline, they did. Armenia, Azerbaijan, Gorgestan, Tajikistan were all part of Iran Empire. You know, it's really easy to get a stalker online, unfortunately. There's just a lot of cray-cray people. And maybe, you know, maybe that's just what it is just the energies keep rising and rising, and you either adapt or you can't, you know, but it's like do or die now. You're forced into, like, figuring it out. Iran is 3 or 4 times bigger than Ukraine. Yeah, and also, from my understanding, the terrain, like these giant mountains and deserts and 10 million hidey places, and, like, you don't want to try to... I don't know if it was always like that, and I do think Iran is a lot bigger than it was before. Or Ukraine shrunk, you know, maybe the Europeans and stuff all shrunk, but... if you look at them in comparison. I was just seeing this thing the other day. They're like, how come Iran has, like, no beachfront resorts and blah, blah, blah. And it was just pretty interesting. I guess part of it is the giant mountains, but I kind of wonder if some of it is new territory, too. That's why there's nothing on it yet. I noticed that, like, in California, all that new stuff at the top, there's very little going on up there. And then I saw a show why nobody built hardly anything on the top of California, even though California is so expensive. And then they had this whole story. Oh, well, you know, there's a lot of mountains, and it's kind of expensive to build up in the forest, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, there were forests all over California, you know, and yet it's not like San Francisco didn't have a bunch of crap. And they're all mountainous and all difficult to build on, yet poo-poo, there it was. They did it, you know. So, like, the whole thing is sort of weird to me. Okay, we got Home Skulls, Google Earth. I think that was all I wanted to say about. Yeah, see, like, there's no way this Saudi region was nearly that big. And then Iran is huge. Kazakhstan, come on, Kazakhstan. That is freaking ridiculous. Look at that. Kazakhstan's almost the size of Europe. No, you weren't. India used to be way bigger, and all this stuff was like way smaller. I mean, Iran wasn't a dinky country, but it wasn't like nearly the size of Europe. Kazakhstan wasn't. Crazy town. The other thing, I think Russia is like, it's sticking its little putty feet here down this way. It seems like it's got like, because it's shaped like a horse now, and so there's like, let's see, that's, wait, here, let's look at actual Russia. Here we go. So like these legs of the horse here, it just seems like this is kind of coming down a little bit, but this other back legs of the horse here coming down over Georgia. Oh, there's Georgia. This area here, I think, is slipping down, because I really thought like Sochi, last time I was looking at it, like Sochi and Krasnodar right in here, they were almost as far south as you could go. There was a little bit of a dip over here, but now like there's this whole nother chunk. So I was kind of looking for like the least cold place in Russia, and that's why I had been kind of looking at this. And so supposedly it's here because they said the Black Sea kind of stabilizes the weather. But I'm like, well, isn't the Caspian Sea gonna stabilize the weather, and this is further south? But no. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems weird. It's like, then you try to even look in here on like, there should be some resorts and stuff, right? I mean, you've got all of Russia is freaking freezing cold, and you've got this one tidbit down here that has pretty good weather most of the year. You would think like half of Russia would want to live down here, because that's how California is, you know, in Florida. But maybe they weren't around that long. Maybe they're Mandela creations, and that's why they're not populated yet. I don't know. China. Oh, China. China's shaped like a chicken right now, and I feel like the chicken stomach is really sticking out. This stomach area, and I think it's because the waterways are going in, but chicken stomach. See, there's the head of the chicken, and then there's like the wing sticking out, and then there's like the tail, and then the feet. But this stomach, let me look at the shape of China. Oh, China. Yeah. Oh, look. Yes, it's definitely sticking out. There was no way the stomach was sticking out that hard before. The neck is all long. That's hilarious. Okay, yeah. So China has definitely changed shape. This is stuck out. The neck is longer. I don't know. What is that little booble dobble down there? They didn't have a separate booble dobble. I think, what is that? That's a little island, right? Okay. I don't remember that being on the shape, though. It's on all of them. Dang, that actually changed a lot. Look it, so fat. Wow. MN Fats 45. Yeah, Mongolia was not a country until like 8 or 9 years ago. We noticed it was a country. So it's an older one for me. But that was a big Mandela back then. Oh, yeah, it is over 2 hours. All right, it's time for me to go. I think I got everything. I think that's everything, Eliza, for... Yep, we got everything. Thanks for letting me know. Appreciate it. Feeling kind of spry today. I didn't really notice. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Very much appreciate it. Thanks for all the Mandelas, you guys. Let's see if I owed anybody any. I think I've given everybody credit. I kind of feel like I forgot somebody. I think most the ones I didn't mention were all mine, though. And the Sandcats was Julesy. And then all the others was Jackie. Thank you so much. Appreciate it so much. Oh, Jackie, you got the #1 crown. That's why I'm leaving now. Murphy's Law. All right. Thanks for coming. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.